Hello coders, welcome to the 5th episode in our first season, which is the Spreadsheet Service. In this episode, we're going to be talking about getting the last row and column of a data set. And this actually is a very handy tool in your tool belt of methods that you can use. So there's two methods again: getLastRow, getLastColumn. Very simple. Let's go over them right now. So again, these are methods that I use quite frequently actually, and they are methods from the class sheet. So right now I'm just going to say logger log, and I'm going to use our sheet, which is sheet Detroit. And then I'm going to say get last row. You can see here that it returns an integer. So let's see that on the logs. And then also I'm going to copy this and paste. Instead of a row, I'm just going to say column. Let's save it. Let's run it. Let's view the logs. Okay, so we have 3 and 4. So if you remember, I can't move this out of the way, but it said the first one was get last row, and then the second one was get last column. So as you can see here, yep, our last row is definitely in row 3, and our last column is definitely in row 4. So that's correct. So why is this useful and why is it used a lot? Well, I'm sure there are plenty of use cases for it, but one that comes up quite frequently is, let's say you're trying to add a new record, right? But you're trying to automate this, so you never really know how many rows you're going to have. So when you type in something like sheet Detroit dot get range, and you type this in, you can't really just hard code it and say like it starts on row 3, because if you're given a sheet and it already has records in it, it's not always going to start on row 3. So what you can do actually is you can say get last row and then just add 1 to it. So if you add 1 to it, remember it was 3 before in our logs. It was 3 before. So if you add 1 to it, that means now we're going to be looking at row 4, which is right here. So that's a nice way to systematize it, and also it makes your code a little bit more dynamic, which is exactly what you want in automation. Same with the column. You can just do this. Actually, you don't want to do it right here. You want to start on column 1. But if you say number of columns, remember this is going to return 4. So this is going to be our number of columns, which is 4. Number of rows is going to stay 1. And then we have our range, so now we can set values. And this is starting to be a very long line, so I am going to move this down to the next line, which you can do, thankfully. All right, and then now again we have 4 things to fill in. Let's fill in Antonio Brown, and let's just say location everywhere, apparently. Job title, again, wide receiver, and reason for leaving, too good for the NFL, for sure. All right, let's save it, run it. Boom, there we go. Now if we run it again, and let's just change something, whatever, Brown, Antonio. I know that doesn't make any sense, but let's run it again. Instead of overwriting the data, now it's just going to add a record. So this is really cool. You don't have to change this get range at all anymore because it's totally dynamic. It just gets the last row every single time, adds 1. And the get last column, I mean, this is always going to be 4, but maybe you want to add data to, you can add it horizontally. You could do that. But anyways, it's the dynamicism now, which is really cool. Anyways, guys, I hope you learned a lot in this one, and I'll see you in the next video.